does Cambridge's drinking water come from?
How do we know there's not lead in our water?
Is there fish swimming in our water?
How does our drinking water get to us?
So, where exactly does Cambridge's city water come from?
Yes, the water from Cambridge comes from the Hobbs Brook Reservoir. That flows via stream to the Stony Brook Reservoir. And the Stony Brook Reservoir water is conveyed to Fresh Pond via a 63-inch poured-in-place concrete conduit. So it's all an underground conduit. Then we take the water out of Fresh Pond Reservoir, bring it into the treatment facility, we treat the water, we pump it up to a storage tank in Belmont, and then it's fed through pipes to everyone's homes in the city of Cambridge.
How are Cambridge's water sources protected?
Yes, that's, again, a very, very good question. We have watershed division. We do have regulatory jurisdiction to minimize encroachment onto our property. There's no swimming, there's no boating allowed in the reservoirs. And we work with all the fire departments in the watershed communities to make sure that if there is an emergency spill, because our reservoirs do go through Route 128, there's a possibility of accidents and so on. We have a lot of opportunities to either constrain, turn off, or modify how the water flows such that if there is an area that's a problem, we can control it and repair it.
So how do you know the drinking water is clean in Cambridge?
Our water quality is very consistent and high quality. We did build this facility and put online in 2001, and it has a robust treatment systems that take out all the organics and a variety of other materials. We do add chlorine for the primary disinfection, and ozone as another primary disinfectant as well. And we do secondary disinfection with chloramines. And what that does is it allows a stable residual in the water throughout the distribution system and minimizes the reformation of any bacteria or viruses in the system. Another reason why we have a high water quality is we do over 60,000 tests in the water a year. We test for coliforms or bacteria on a weekly basis. We test daily. We test for a variety of different process controls, temperature, pH, chlorine levels, chloramine levels. We test it in the raw water before it even gets to the plant, so we understand what it's doing prior to that. We test in the treatment facility to ensure that our processes and everything is working correct, and we test at the taps in people's houses or businesses.
I'd like to inquire how much fluoride there is in the Cambridge water.
We do add a fluoride to the water. That's a standard from the CDC, and they just reduce that. And so we do always test to make sure that we're at the correct levels, and it's 0.7 parts per million, right? Well, fluoride is to prevent teeth decay. Currently and in the past, that can be a serious issue which can cause actually death via infections in your mouth.
It seems like the water can be clean and treated, and then it gets delivered to our house via the pipes. Does that play into the water quality?
Again, obviously, when the water leaves the plant, and then in between here and it gets to a home or a property, the water quality could possibly change slightly. There are 190 miles of pipe in the city of Cambridge, and there's obviously water services, and there's all the plumbing in everyone's house. So the typical thing we say is if you're looking at water and you're not comfortable with the way it looks, you certainly shouldn't drink it. I'm pretty sure it's safe, but again, the safest thing to do is always, if you have any doubt, don't drink the water and give us a call, and we will come and respond.
How can we be sure there's no lead in our drinking water?
Yes, well, the raw water or the incoming water really typically has zero lead in it, and where lead actually can be picked up is most likely in plumbing fixtures in a house. A lot of the sources is, your kitchen fixture, for an example, made of brass. In the old days, they allowed up to 8% lead in that brass material, and I believe the state is in 2014, January 2014, I think it has to be, all the plumbing fixtures made in the state or distributed or sold in the state have to be less than 0.25% weight by lead, but that was January of 2014. We started doing this probably almost 20 years ago.
What can the city of Cambridge do to make my water bill less expensive?
The water department is always working to improve our process, to reduce costs. We've recently put solar panels on the roof to reduce our electrical power consumption. We're putting variable frequency drives on our raw water pumps, which again should significantly reduce power consumption again. We are always looking at the process to see if we can do it for less money, use less chemicals, and do it for less cost. One of the fruits I think of that has been I think this year is the 6th running year that the water rate has not increased. It's been a steady water rate for 6 years, which again, I think is showing that we've really done a pretty good job of trying to control and understand the costs and at least minimize them.
If I'm concerned about tap water, what should I do?
They should call the water department. The number is 617-349-4770. Again, we do take every single call extremely seriously. And it's very, very important that we do because, again, people's health are at jeopardy.